Well, hey, we are live. So, hey, welcome to our show here tonight. Welcome to your favorite show, the amazing show, the right, Cheryl. We'll
Yeah,
uh,
yes, of course.
we'll sing, and we'll shout tonight. We'll be singing and shouting about another one of Cheryl's nearly 60 boyfriends, we think, and this will be segment I think 77,
And I was
27.
talking to you today about Mark Van Hoos, and I'm not sure if I have him on the list.
Oh,
So
okay. So
I might
there's
have to add him in.
there's another one. Yeah.
Yep.
So well, I should count, the Charlie's Angels as part of my deal, and then Christy McNichol, and I could make a list too.
Tatum O'Neal.
Tape, that was never really one for me,
Yeah.
but anyway, I did like Julie from the Love Boat. I had a
Uh huh.
crush on her. So, but hey, I really was pretty disorganized last night when I was trying to do that thing for you for your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to say, Cheryl, there were times during high school there where things were pretty rough in our family and whatnot. And there were times when it seemed like you were not only my best friend, but there were times when it seemed like you were my only friend.
Yeah, I do
And
understand.
and it certainly, and it's not that the people around me weren't good people, but they were just, young men making a lot of stupid and dumb choices too, and they weren't really helping me to um, be anybody that I needed to be.
Yeah.
So getting up and getting out of there and getting away from there and then ultimately moving out to Idaho turned out to be a really good thing. It just I ended up being out with that family in Ashton, which they were amazing people. In fact, they were too good. They were too good for me and too good to me, and I just couldn't handle it. So I had to get out of there. Um, I mean, really, it really was that way. They were just too good,
Yeah.
and they put me beside their perfect little daughter and forced me to ride to school with her every day, and I could only handle so much of that. So,
She was
you
a
know,
special spirit.
I'm gonna. Well, no, I mean, Galen was a really cute kid. She was a good kid,
I'm just
but
kidding.
I really think, as I reflect back on that, I think they thought more of me than I thought of myself, and I think they almost kind of like thought, maybe I might be somebody who would marry that daughter.
Uh huh.
And when I reflect on that situation in hindsight, I really do think that was part of their thinking, but it was never part of my thinking because living with her made it feel like she was my sister, and I never really thought of her or looked at her that way.
Right.
Um, and I never really felt anything from her that suggested that I should think otherwise. So, so regardless of what the parents were thinking, if she and I are not thinking and feeling that way, then obviously nothing's happening.
Right.
Um, but without further ado, I'm going to work on getting these pictures up. You go ahead and start talking about this next fella here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about my Ricks College Academy summer, which was the summer of 1984. It would have been just after my sophomore year of college, and I only needed a few classes to get my associate's degree. So I stayed over this summer and I was in this big theater program, which was like a summer stock kind of thing there in Rexburg. And I did take my last two classes that I needed to graduate. So by August of 84, I had my associate's degree. But while I was there that summer, I dated quite a few young men. And I've talked about Eric Oliphant, who was Prince Charming, and Steve's going to pull up his picture here in a minute. And I talked about Aaron Romney, the yogurt man who ran the Mill Hollow frozen yogurt. And I found out recently that it's a Mill Hollow restaurant now up in Rexburg, and him and his wife are still running it. So that's pretty cool. So I have three more guys that I kind of went out with that summer. Um, One was Ron Jewett. Now, he played opposite me in Arsenic and Old Lace. He played, what's that character's name? Mortimer. He played Mortimer and I played Elaine. And there was a scene where we were supposed to, well, where we kissed on stage.
Oh,
And my friend Kim really liked Ron too. And she was one of my very best friends. So I didn't really want to step on her feet. But there was a day where Ron and I sat out in the lawn in front of the Kirkham building and kind of had a little picnic and a talk. And, I think we felt something for each other. And
so
so,
These are having a hard time getting uploaded and over to the computer, but here, Cheryl,
Okay.
is your picture.
Yes, so this is Eric Oliphant. He played Prince Charming for us. And he was the one whose dad taught dancing at Rick's College. And he was a good singer. He was a better dancer than singer. He wasn't a fabulous singer, but the Cinderella that they chose was a very petite girl. And so Eric is kind of a petite guy. And there's actually a picture of me and Eric kind of hugging. Can you find that one? I'm in like a
Yep.
blue dress in the corner of my kitchen.
Um, let's see. This one here. Yes.
I think that's a really cute picture of me, actually. Okay, so there's me and Eric hugging. That is our kitchen. That kitchen window right behind there. Somebody actually opened that one night while we were all sleeping and threw in firecrackers. And I thought there was shooting going on. That was probably my most scared experience in my whole life. I
Right.
was so scared. Well,
Right.
we heard the chairs moving around in the kitchen because they reached in and they started moving the chairs around. So you hear chairs scraping on the ground, so you assume somebody's in the house, and then all of a
Right.
sudden you hear these like loud sounds, and you think they're in the house shooting your friends. It was quite creepy because we had some very weird experiences that summer with like this creepy guy coming by about midnight, and he had a trench coat on, and this is Idaho in the middle of July. Nobody needs to be wearing a trench coat. So
Right.
that's a real creepy experience for us. But so anyway, so there's me and Eric, and we lasted maybe a month. But I love that picture of me specifically. I like that dress, and I just think I look really cute there. So
Why did that fall apart?
um it was probably me. I probably just wanted to move on to the next. I don't know. Eric was I liked him, but he was a bit of a wimp. And I've not really
Okay.
been attracted to wimpy guys. You can tell by
Right.
looking at him, he's kind of slender and
Well, growing up with, pretty heavy duty farm kid like myself,
yes, I
you know,
wasn't really attracted to old Eric. But
yeah. So,
but
so tell
I
us about
mean,
this group here, or well,
what
finish your story, but yeah.
who could have not wanted to date Prince Charming? So, I had to take advantage of that. Okay, so
Right.
this is me way on the right, and this is my favorite costume that I got to wear for Cinderella. We got to wear four costumes with the big hoop skirts and everything. And this was my absolute favorite. So one night I was talking about the fact that Sister Whitfield let us wear our costumes up to the school dance that night at Rick's. And so that was the costume I chose out of my four costumes to wear up to the dance, is this red
Uh-huh.
and white one. But so this group of kids, we were the best dancers in the whole crew of 24. So they chose us to do this number, and we were supposed to be like bakers or something to the king. And the guy right in the middle, the only guy there is Ron Jewett. And he's the one I was just talking about who played opposite me in Arsenic and Old Lace.
Okay.
So that's why I chose that picture because I think it's the only picture I have with Ron in it. But so it turned out is kind of interesting. We did have a review. Sorry, my broker just texted me. I'm working on a deal. Um, we did get a review in the newspaper about Arsenic and Old Lace, and it said something about the fact that the chemistry between Ron and I was like way off, and that it was like it didn't seem like we really liked each other much or whatever. And so it did.
Okay.
It did turn out later. The picture's gone dark. Uh, it did turn out later that Ron is gay.
Oh,
So
well,
no wonder he didn't really want to kiss me.
I wonder what's wrong with the chemistry there. Yes.
Yeah, I know, right? So it really wasn't my fault, which made me feel better because I'm like, I'm giving it my all here. I've kissed a lot of guys. I know how. So it was just awkward as heck with that guy. Now I know why. He's kissing somebody he didn't really want to kiss. But, for a while there we had a little bit of a romantic thing. It wasn't huge, but just a
Right.
couple weeks probably while we were preparing that play because when you're doing rehearsals for a show, I mean we were there for 4 or 5, 6 hours a day with each other. So
Right.
but actually Kim was in that show with me too. There were only three women in that show. And Kim was one and I was one and then our roommate Melanie, who was from Canada, was one, and nobody liked her. She was terrible. She like would start an argument with you just to argue. And the next day she would choose the other side of the argument just to argue again. Just used to drive me crazy. So I have pretty good feelings about all my roommates that summer, but Melanie was a bit of a pain.
I see.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
tell us how you feel.
Yeah, I know. All my other roommates would totally agree with me.
Right.
All right. So put this up. Yeah, put it up a little higher. Higher. Like it's,
Um,
yeah, there you go. This is a group that did Winnie the Pooh, and we went around and performed it for grade schools. Oh, there I'm hugging on Eric Oliphant again.
yeah, I see that. You're in the pink, right?
Yeah, I'm in the pink. But I'm thinking the guy named Troy that I dated again, I think he's the one kind of with the mustache and the dark hair with the like maybe a cap on or something in the
Okay.
middle, kind of right behind Heidi. Heidi's the one with the, you knew Heidi, Steve. She's the one that went all the way to from Idaho to the East Coast with us.
Okay.
You know, you and mom came to pick me up and I had a friend with me.
Yep.
So that girl in the check shirt, that's Heidi. She went with us. And
Right.
I think it's the guy right behind her, that's Troy. And Troy was a return missionary. He had just gotten back from Japan. And at the time, the men were only serving 18 months. And so he
Right.
said basically by the time he learned Japanese, it was time for him to come home because he
Right.
said the language was so difficult.
Hmm.
So,
You see, I
so
didn't have that problem in Australia. I picked it up right away,
oh, yeah, good for you.
and I was, but some of us are
Brilliant.
just more gifted.
Right. So we did actually go on some dates, and he actually took me home to meet his parents.
Oh,
He lived like in Rigby, real close by, you know.
okay.
So we went home, met his parents, had dinner with them, and we went on a couple dates, and we liked each other. But I don't know why that really fell apart. He would have been a good mate for me.
Hmm.
But he ended up, I don't see the girl in this particular picture, but there was a girl in the Academy Players called Betsy. Her name was Betsy, and she had a real good soprano voice. She kind of had a perm and blonde hair, so she looked a little bit clownish. I hated those perms.
Hmm.
But she had a super good voice, but she was such a goody two shoes. And she played this part in Guys and Dolls of Sarah, which is supposed to be a goody two shoes. So it was the perfect part for her. But Troy was a bit of he was a bit of a playboy. He was kind of like always flirting with all the girls and everything. And Betsy was the complete opposite of that. And so after we left Academy, maybe like 6 months to a year later, I get a wedding announcement with those two on the front. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I would have
Wowzers.
never put those two together.
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully they're still married and happy. I don't know for sure. But anyway,
Right.
so Troy was another one I dated that summer. And then there was a stagehand named Mark Mills who was super cute. He was much more buff than Eric. And of course, because he's back there moving all the furnishings around and stuff. And he was great looking. I remember laying on the trampoline in the back of someone's yard. I think it might have been our costumer's yard, Sister Whitfield. I remember laying on the trampoline making out with him. So it was like late at night, and we just snuck back there behind Sister Whitfield's house and laid on her trampoline
Right.
because I couldn't go home. Our home was just up the street, but I
Right.
couldn't go home. And because after 10 o'clock at night, the boys weren't even allowed in the house because that's how, Rex College rules. I think it was after 11 o'clock at night on the weekdays, and then 1 o'clock on the weekends for curfews. It didn't
Hmm.
work great for us because a lot of times by 11 o'clock at night, we were just finishing up a play. Like our Guys and Dolls started at 8. That was a 3-hour play with the intermission. So we were just
Right.
getting done at 11. But so anyway, I want to tell you the story about the guy in the trench coat
Yes.
because it's a pretty funny story. I didn't date this guy. But all of us girls were there together. And like I said, our house was lit up all the time because we were always up till 12, 1 o'clock because we just barely got home. Um, so we're home after a show one night, and all of a sudden we get a knock on the door and we think, well, one of the boys must be pranking us or something. It's probably midnight. So we had a screen door between us. We had a big wooden door because this was an older brick house, probably built in the 30s, I would guess. So we had a very big, sturdy brick door that had like a diamond window in it. And then outside of that, there was a screen door that we kept locked. So we opened up the big door. I think I was the one that opened it. And there's a guy standing out there in a trench coat. And I'm just like, okay, this is weird. So I'm like calling my roommates to come over because I don't want to be confronting this guy by myself. And so three of my roommates, I think, came over and we were all kind of huddled in the doorway there. And we're like, is there something we can do for you? And he said, I'm a diabetic and I need some sugar. So we're just kind of all looking at each other and we were like, well, we're not sure how we can help you. We don't really want to open the door. And I said, just a minute. So we shut the big wooden door and we had a little between ourselves, being like, we really shouldn't let this guy into our house. He's got a trench coat on, which is really suspicious. And,
Right.
maybe he's going to flash us. Who knows what he's got under there. And
Right.
so we're trying to figure out what to do with this guy. And we ended up, our costume teacher, Sister Whitfield, lived just diagonally on the same street as us, maybe three houses down across the street. And so we decided, we called Sister Whitfield and we said, we've got this guy on our doorstep. And, it was midnight. Her and her husband were asleep. But we're like, we got this guy on our doorstep and he's not leaving. And he says he's diabetic and needs some sugar. And so he's like having a low blood sugar incident or something. And so Sister Whitfield said, well, tell him to come here, and she had a massive husband. So like Zach, just a really big dude. So nobody was going to mess with Sister Whitfield. So that's one of the reasons we sent him over there. And so we told him to just go to her house, which was basically right across the street and two houses down. I mean, it wasn't very far. And so Sister Whitfield said, yeah, they'd wait up for him. So the next day we talked to Sister Whitfield and we said, did that guy ever stop by to get his sugar? And she said, nope, he never came by. And we were just all like, holy crap.
Right.
And so then a lot of our compatriots were teasing us, saying, well, he's probably dead on your lawn, that kind of stuff. He probably
Right.
huddled in a corner on the street and died. We're like, well, we didn't see anybody dead out there. So I'm thinking that's a lie.
Right.
And so we get home from rehearsal that day, and my friend Janet Vandegraaff, who's such a comedian, so funny. She had this note taped to the door with a big sucker that said, "For all wandering diabetics." So there was this lollipop on our door with that note for the rest of the time we were there, just in case he came back.
Right.
He'd have his sugar. But we were very smart not to open the door, I have to say, because obviously he wasn't in any need of sugar. He just wanted to cause trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we did call the police that night too and tell them that there's this guy wandering around in a trench coat and
Right.
who knows what he's up to, especially
Right.
when he didn't show up at Sister Whitfield's house. So
Are
anyway,
we
so there was that cute Mark guy, and he was not as LDS as he should have been. For
right?
me, anyway, I was looking for a return missionary and he was a little rougher than that. So that's why he and I broke up. But so those were my 5 gays I dated over that summer. Aaron Romney, and I did actually date his brother one night too, the older guy. Um, I did Matt. I think his name is Matt Romney. Um, so I had Eric Oliphant, Ron Jewett, Troy. I cannot think of Troy's last name. It'll come to me. And then the stagehand guy, Mark Mills. Um, so there were 5 different guys I dated that summer. And I got the female Casanova of Academy Award at the end of the year when they were coming up with the gag gifts. So I
Right.
still have that. I still have that certificate that they gave me. And I pasted little pictures of all 5 of the guys on that. So I would remember all the 5 guys I dated that summer. And when I got off the airplane, that guy Dirk was waiting for me, and I ended up calling him Dirk the Jerk. So you can kind of say there were 6, but all he did was drive me home from the airport. We had been dating before I left, and I never wanted to see him again because he was just being such an idiot
Yeah.
about my plane being late. Like somehow that was my fault.
Right. Yeah. Like you had a lot of
So
control over that. Sure.
yeah, and he was just being a bit huffy about having to drive me home. So I just never saw him again.
So what do you think of my new blue shirt here? So I got this.
What's it
I
got
got
on
this
it? There's
letter.
like a little print.
There's little sailboats on it.
Ah,
Sailboats.
nice.
That's what those are, sailboats.
Mhm. Well, you kind of match your background.
I got this letter from. I got this letter from Kohl's saying if you don't get busy and use your credit card, your Kohl's credit card, we're gonna cancel it. We're gonna turn it off. And so, and I've always liked Kohl's, but I literally have enough clothes to get me through the next 40 years of my life without any problem and well into a millennium.
Right.
And so the last thing I need at age 60 is more clothes, but I didn't want them to cancel my credit card. So I went over there, got some socks, got a few other things, and I got these two shirts on sale. I got a yellow one and got this one here. So
Very nice.
that's what's going on there.
That's what's going on.
All right. Well, thank you
Awesome.
for sharing all that good stuff. Do we have anything else we want to entertain them with tonight, or should we let them go? It was who's up for next week?
Well, I have the summer of 1984. So I have a couple guys from Tri-Village Printing. I already talked about my Ohio State Fair Youth Choir guys, I think.
Right.
And then Todd Thomas is coming up here pretty soon. But
Right.
I've got to get through the Cedar Point guys. Mark Speed, Scott Zerby, Jeff from The Office, Mark Van Hoos, which I just added to the list because I'd forgotten about him, and Stan from The Office, and Scott McMeeking. A lot of these people won't know who that is, and then Kevin, who played Brother Bear, who played a trick
Right.
on me one night that I will explain next week, but it's a little bit X-rated, so tune in for that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you for sharing all that good stuff. And let's see. Tonight's Tuesday. I don't know whether I'll be on tomorrow night or
Monday.
not. I may be. It just depends on how my day goes. Or not. Today is Monday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's
Family
Tuesday.
meeting night.
That's how that works. Okay. I have it's BYU Education Week, and I'm volunteering over there Education Week from like 2 p.m. until like 5:30 over at the BYU Conference Center.
Mm-hmm.
So
is that the Marriott? Or is that different?
No, it's not the Marriott Center. It's the Conference Center. They're close to the Marriott Center. It's there across from the MTC. But one of these Sunday mornings, I was thinking I would walk over there and do a tour of BYU for you, do a Facebook Live and tour BYU so you can see all the changes
Well, I know they get rid of the Harris Fine Arts Center, which irritates me.
That one's definitely gone. So yeah, I thought I'd show you kind of what was going on over there. So
yeah, that sounds good.
all
I
right.
went to the neurologist today. Found out that I don't have Alzheimer's, so that's good.
Oh, well, that
I'm
sounds
just aging. I'm just aging naturally.
Yeah.
He said I aced the cognitive test, so I guess I'm fine.
Yeah, very good. Very good. All right.
Well, I guess we'll let everybody go. Steve, you stay
right.
on. I want to chat with you for a minute.
Okay.